Welcome back to Date Night, because love isn't enough. Effort is. I'm your host, dating and relationship coach, Laurel House. We were talking about effort and what we actually need in a relationship in the last episode, and that love isn't enough. So what does that actually mean? And what if effort feels like a chore, or is it a turn on? It's commitment to the commitment. And I want to explain a little more because I think some people have a tough time understanding what effort means or what love is. It's not a reward. Effort is the engine to get the love. It creates attraction, not just maintains it. Here is the core reframe on effort. Effort is not about obligation. Effort is I choose you again. And human beings get really turned on by being chosen. Love at the beginning is easy. Love in the middle is effort. Love that lasts is still effort. Always effort. And here's the truth most people avoid. It's not about if you love each other. It's about if you are willing to actively keep choosing each other, because effort is choosing. So what exactly is effort? Effort is not buying flowers. Effort is not one big grand gesture every 6 months. Effort is not, but I'm here, aren't I? Effort is attunement. So what's attunement? Attunement is harmony, connection, adaptation. Effort is I see what matters to you and I move towards it. Effort is I notice what hurts you and I adjust my behavior so it stops hurting you. Effort is I'm not perfect, but I am actively participating in being better. Because the real opposite of effort is not lazy. The real opposite of effort is entitlement. Why does effort feel like a chore sometimes then? Effort can feel heavy when you resent what is being asked of you, or you don't agree with the need. You are performing the relationship instead of participating in it. You're working to keep the peace instead of working to stay connected. Effort should not be, fine, what do you want right now? Effort at its best is, I want to know you deeper. I want to love you better. Effort is sexy. A lot of people don't realize this. Effort is a turn on because effort is attention. Attention is attunement. Attunement is intimacy. Intimacy is desire. You actually create your own chemistry through effort. Chemistry isn't what makes effort easier. Effort is what makes chemistry sustainable. I feel sexy when my partner puts in effort because it signals I choose you. And being chosen is one of the sexiest feelings. It's the commitment to the commitment. You don't put in effort because it's fun. You put in effort because the relationship is worth keeping. It's meaningful. You are creating meaning, even if it's not fun sometimes. It's the bigger overall picture that you're working towards. It's the point, or is it? What is your point? To jump out because you don't feel like putting in the effort, and then what? You date and have fun and find someone else and commit to them. And then they need effort too. Different effort and still effort. So then what do? Well, you don't feel like putting in the effort. So what? You jump out again and then again and again and again. What's your point? What's the reason for dating? So that it can be easy or so that you can be deeply happy? What's your end goal? Endless dating or finding and building a real relationship? That is commitment to the commitment. And here's the other hidden truth. Even if the relationship eventually does end, if you both truly put in real effort, you can walk away without shame. You can walk away without torment. You can walk away knowing you didn't give up. You grew up. But are you ready for the deceptively simple truth? You can't make someone want to put in the effort, but you can do 3 things that will dramatically increase the likelihood that they will choose to put in effort. And that's what you want. Number 1, you have to define effort. Most couples are fighting because they're speaking different languages. He thinks I pay the bills, I show up, I come home. That's my effort. You think effort is emotional presence, attunement, repair. So you need to make it concrete so that you can come together. Say, when I say effort, I mean consistent, small actions that help us stay connected, like asking how my day was and actually really listening and having a conversation with me. It's about being thoughtful. It's about circling back after a conflict. It's about not getting angry all the time. It's about having self-control when you feel upset and you choose not to snap at me. Effort needs examples, not a vibe. Number 2, you have to link effort to benefit, not criticism. Humans only change for one of 2 reasons: to reduce pain or to increase pleasure. If he thinks effort just means I'm failing and she wants me to do more, he will shut down, get defensive, get angry, get resentful. So if you reframe effort as effort makes us feel closer, effort makes the relationship more fun, effort makes sex hotter. Effort isn't punishment. It's the way we create more desire between us. And number 3, you invite them into the solution. Don't assign them a job. People don't want to be managed. So instead of, you need to try harder, try, I want us to feel good together. What would effort look like to you? This does 2 things at once. It reduces shame and it creates ownership. If the plan is their idea, they are 10 times more likely to follow it. And this is the hidden bottom line. Effort happens when both people feel like their effort matters. If they try and you don't acknowledge it, they will stop. If you try and they don't acknowledge it, you will stop. Meaningful partnership is built on the feedback loop. Recognition is fuel. So what do you do if your partner doesn't have the same emotional awareness as you do? They love you, but they don't have experience with being as emotionally in touch as you do. Well, this is what you're actually going to say to someone who doesn't process nuance in the same way. You're going to say, I want us to have a relationship that feels good for both of us. I don't mean to make it feel like work. I don't want you to be miserable, and I don't want to feel miserable either. Relationships should be fun. They should make life easier and better and more enjoyable. And if it's not right now, I don't feel like that means we should just discard the relationship. But instead, can we work together to get back to that place of fun, easier, better, and enjoyable? When I say effort, what I mean is small actions that help us stay connected, not big emotional talks all the time, not therapy level stuff. Small actions. For example, asking how my day was, checking in, hugging me when you get home, staying soft instead of sharp when you're frustrated. Those small things. Those are the things that make me feel close to you and want to be close to you. I'm not criticizing you. I'm telling you the specific things that make me feel good. And I also want to know, what are 2 or 3 small actions that I can do that would make you feel good? Because I want to do the things that matter to you too. Now, here's why this works. You're not implying that they already failed, so there's no shame. You're making it practical. You're asking them to name what they want also, which equalizes the power. You're working in concrete examples, not abstract feelings. People with lower emotional intelligence do want closeness. They just don't have internal emotional tools to build it. And you're offering the tools. You are not judging. You can also add this additional sentence if it helps to clarify. You can say, I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for effort. Small steps. We can build from small steps. Now, how do you revisit this conversation when they fail to follow through and you don't want the conversation to turn into a fight? You need to be non-shaming, non-accusing, forward-moving. You don't want to trigger, and you don't want them to get defensive. What's going on? Because you seem to be a little bit unsure. Honestly, I don't know. There were some strange things that were happening, and I started asking questions, and I felt like his answers didn't align with how he portrayed himself. When something feels off, that's your intuition, bringing awareness to the fact that you have some questions. There's a website that I love called TruthFinder. TruthFinder can help us figure out if these are real red flags or if he's the real deal. We do a little bit of a background check. TruthFinder is a great way to simply deliver police records, arrest records, criminal records, speeding tickets, bankruptcy court records, voter registration data, social media handles, phone numbers, home addresses, email addresses, and possible relatives. And you know what we can learn from that? If he's actually married or if he's single. And you know what? While we're at it, it's not a bad idea to do a little search on you too, just to see what's out there, what people can find about you. You know what? I think it's a really good idea. This is going to give me so much more confidence dating. And I would like to do that search on me too. What if someone thinks that I'm fake? So what you're going to do is you're going to say this calmly when you are both not in a high emotional moment. You're going to say, "Can we take 2 minutes? I want to just check in, not fight." Remember those small actions that we talked about, the little connection things? I noticed that they haven't really been happening, and I'm not mad. I just am trying to understand. Was it because you forgot? Or maybe you didn't think that they really mattered, or they were silly, or that they were just too much or overwhelming? If they say that they forgot, then you can say, "Okay, then can we just choose one, not 5? Maybe just one thing that we can do every day that I can count on?" If they say that they didn't think it mattered or it was silly, then you can say, "It matters to me. I feel close and wanted when those things happen. And I'm telling you this because I want us to feel good together." If they say that it's too much or overwhelming, then you can say, "Then let's simplify it. What's the smallest version of effort that still shows me that you choose us every day?" I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for participation. This script does not make them wrong. It invites them to self-identify what their block is. That alone keeps them emotionally regulated. Now, what do you do when effort is asked for, but their response is anger, blame, or flipping it back on you? This is an important one because this is the moment where it is no longer about the effort and it becomes about their emotional capacity. And this is where most people get stuck. So this is what you want to say. I want you to notice something with me for just a second. I am not attacking you. I'm not raising my voice. I'm not angry. I'm not insulting you. I am simply telling you what helps me feel close to you. And your response feels like anger and attacking to me. I'm not saying this to blame you. I'm saying this because this is the moment I need you to see that this is about capacity. This is about your desire to make it work. If we can't talk about effort without it turning into a fight, then we need additional support because this is bigger than skills. I am willing to work on this with you. I am not willing to be a punching bag or to pretend that we're okay if we can't talk about what we need. I'm asking you, are you willing to get help with me together? Yes or no? And then you stop. Because now you've shifted from you need to try harder to do you even have the capacity or desire to have this conversation with me? This is the actual fork in the road. If they say yes, then you say, good, then let's choose a tool. Should we do a couples session, a communication coach, or we can read and practice or find YouTube videos and create a framework that we can do together? Which one? If they say no, then you have your clarity because then the truth is they don't want to improve the relationship or they just feel too overwhelmed to do it right now, or maybe this isn't the moment to talk about it. They might want the relationship to stay exactly as it is, or they want you to just change and be better and be different. That is the moment you stop negotiating about fantasies and start making decisions based on reality. Here's how to know if your partner actually has the capacity to make the relationship better, or if you're wasting your hope, or maybe you simply need help from an outside source, or maybe it's just not the time. Ask yourself 6 questions. When you ask them for effort, do they get curious or defensive? Do they say, "Tell me more"? Or do they say, "You're overreacting"? Do they ask you what you need? Or do they immediately tell you what they need first? Do they take responsibility? Or do they instantly explain it away? Do you see actual follow through? Or is it the same apology on repeat? Real capacity shows up in behavior. Resistance shows up in excuses. Love isn't enough. Capacity plus effort, that is what makes relationships last. But what if you never saw healthy love growing up? Or what if they never saw healthy love growing up? What if their parents didn't model healthy love in action, if their or your parents didn't repair after conflict, if no one ever apologized, if no one ever listened, if love always meant walking on eggshells, if you were the one who had to manage the adults or try to, your brain didn't create a blueprint of reality. It created a fantasy. How are you supposed to build something healthy and something real? How are you expected to put in effort if effort was never modeled for you? Of course, effort then feels overwhelming. Of course, it feels like a chore. Of course, it feels foreign because it is, because you didn't grow up seeing what love looks like. You grew up fantasizing about what love should feel like. And fantasy is intoxicating because fantasy is perfect. Fantasy has no conflict. Fantasy has no growth edges. Fantasy has no rupture and repair. Fantasy has no friction. Fantasy has no consequences. Fantasy is easy because it's limitless. But fantasy isn't a relationship. Fantasy is a coping mechanism. Fantasy doesn't require skill. Reality requires skill. Effort requires skill. So a lot of us aren't actually chasing love. We're chasing the fantasy version of the love we needed and never got. Fantasy ends where effort begins. Effort is the moment where love becomes real. Effort is the moment where two humans learn to build together with each other instead of perform for each other. Effort is the moment where your nervous system stops waiting to be disappointed and starts learning how to trust. But a lot of people aren't pursuing love. They're pursuing the fantasy of the love they wish they had. And here's the brutal truth. Fantasy is always perfect. Reality is always human. And that's why fantasy feels safer than effort. Effort requires skill. Fantasy requires nothing. If you never saw healthy effort modeled, you didn't grow up with that understanding of reality. So how are you supposed to create reality without it feeling stressful? So now the work as an adult is not to find someone perfect. It's to learn how to participate in something real. Real love means doing the work of love. Effort is where fantasy ends and relationships begin. But here's the truth. Most of us don't love the way we want to love. We love the way we were taught, but we want better. And so we consciously have to choose to do better. You can't perform a skill that you've never been taught. You can develop it though, because real love isn't the butterflies. Real love is the growth. It's the commitment to the commitment. It's the unlearning and relearning. It's the skill. So if you never saw love modeled, you are not broken. You're untrained. And now, as an adult, you get to build the love you never had the blueprint for. Effort isn't punishment. Effort is how you create the relationship that little you always wanted and deserved. Effort is a learnable skill. Empathy can be learned. Attunement can be learned. Communication can be learned. Repair can be learned. Generational emotional intelligence can be built. You can be the first in your lineage to change the pattern, and that's powerful. You can be the person who becomes the example you never had. And isn't that what you want to do? Because we don't crave what we had. We crave what we needed and never got. And now is a harsh truth that some people are experiencing and you might not want to consider. You might not actually be in love with them. You might be in love with the fantasy of what you wish love could be, especially if you never saw healthy effort modeled for you growing up. You created a fantasy in your mind of what love should look and feel like, and then you attempted to bring it to life in a fantasy form. And the problem is that that fantasy isn't real. So when it doesn't feel like it looks like in your mind, you get angry, you get frustrated, you resent them for not being the fantasy, but they're, and that's why you have to learn how to shift into reality. And that is what takes effort. You want love, but you don't know how to do love. So this is your pivot. Love isn't about finding the one. It's about developing the skill set of real connection, because connection is where real love lives. Effort is the practice, and relationships don't survive on love. They survive on two people who are willing to show up every day and stay in it, even when the butterflies are gone, because love isn't enough. Effort is. And that's what you want. You want the effort because you want to be chosen every day, again and again. And your partner wants to be chosen too by you. That's your date night for tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Please like this video if there was anything that resonated with you. Please subscribe. If you have any questions, ask. If you have any topics you want me to talk about, please send me a DM or mention it in the comments. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on another date night.